Good morning and welcome to Trading with Larry. It's Larry Benedict joined by Eric Shamilov. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning, Larry. Glad
Got a
to see
lot
you nice
to
and chipper this morning.
got a lot to go over. We're gonna have some changes to the show, Trading with Larry. The first thing we're gonna do for our subscribers and our audience is we're gonna bump our start time 15 minutes later. So we're gonna start the show at 8:45. We're gonna run it for a half hour to 9:15. We're going to try to stick to that pretty good. And then second, what we're going to do is we're going to cover everything, but each day of the week we're going to have a area of focus. So we're going to focus on on one area of the market that we think is critical. Monday will be Macro Monday, where we'll talk about setups for the day, and then more importantly, setups for the week, whether it's Warsh talking on Capitol Hill, the CPI this week, but we're gonna cover the whole macro landscape. And I think that's important. We'll be pretty focused on that. And then what I think is going to be really cool, because we get a lot of questions in the chat. We're going to open it up at the end of the podcast to answer questions that are coming in from our viewers and subscribers. So we'll get to as many as those as we can. And, that's sort of it. I'm excited. I think it's going to be really, really good for people out there. And let's get going. We can talk macro pretty much all day long. I'm probably one of the most experienced macro traders in the world. I would say, not that I'm bragging, but I've run over $1 billion for many, many years, and my fund was a global macro focused fund. So we were looking at all the things that we're going to talk about today. So obviously, over the weekend, there was a lot of macro type news. I know you love this stuff, and we will, we'll kind of cover all of that. What I want to really start with here is, I guess, the news or flavor of Monday morning, the fact that Iran is still blowing up, ships going through the Strait of Hormuz, and Trump is somehow claiming it's open. It may be open, but are you gutsy enough to send your ship through the Strait of Hormuz without paying Iran money? And now, pre-market open, Trump is tweeting some clown stuff, that we're going to take over the strait and we're going to charge money, and we're winning. Same stuff. And my question to you is, I've been watching a lot of this stuff over the weekend. Our weaponry is depleted. We're blowing up sand. I keep saying this. We supposedly bombed them 200 times, 200 spots overnight, but none of them are in Tehran, and none of them have killed one Iranian. It makes no sense. When this whole thing started, we wiped out their entire first fleet of leadership. What are we doing? So I'll throw it to you. You can get going, but that's what's really surprising to me, is the lack of any type of plan or any thought process.
Well, I'm seeing a little bit of escalation. Last time we bombed them, it was 90 targets hit. I know you don't think we hit any targets other than
No targets. No
no
targets.
targets. Okay, so
No
maybe some
targets.
sand patches out there in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
according to reports, we hit 140 targets. Last time it was 90. So
Okay.
that's an uptick. That's an uptick, and we took out a lot of their missiles over the weekend with some bunker busters. So
Well, Eric, let me just stop you for a second. That's what they're saying. what we're saying. Except if we're the greatest military in the world, if we're taking them out, how are they hitting ships? How do they have, the Navy's at the bottom of the sea, everything is destroyed, their missile capacity was already destroyed, their nuclear capacities are already destroyed. Meanwhile, there's evidence that they're going into the nuclear facilities and they've been rebuilding them. So, obviously there's two sides to the story. And
Definitely two sides to the story.
and my thought is this, okay? We're hitting 140 targets, wasting hundreds of bombs, which we don't really have a lot, and we're not hitting Tehran. We're not hitting. Show me one building that's been destroyed. There's none. So,
well, the major problem right now that I see is that the U.S. is saying the Strait of Hormuz is open and Iran is saying it's closed. So you mentioned that earlier. It's very confusing, I think, for...
well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're blowing up ships. No ship is going through. Nobody is taking that risk. Nobody. Okay? Nobody. We're supposed to be providing protection, and they're hitting ships all over the place. Okay? On a daily. Okay? So that's really bad. And I think we're at the point now where we've got to really do something. It's actually embarrassing. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Well, for me, from a macro perspective, what is the end game here? It looks like this is going to be a protracted situation. It's going to last a very long time. They don't want to give in. And so the question becomes, what is the macro picture 3, 6, 12 months from now? Is this going to continue? Does the midterms have any effect on this at all? What does oil look like in 12 months? There's been a lot of attention on that crack spread over the weekend. We were covering this here on the podcast last week, that crack spreads are nearing all-time highs. We've been recommending Marathon Petroleum, Phillips 66. Look at that crack spread. This is in an all-time high. And what they're saying is the crack spread is trading at levels where, even though oil is at 74, it's trading as if oil should be priced at like $200 a barrel. So where do you think oil is going? What do you think the trade on a macro level for this protracted situation in Iran is going to be?
I mean, I think oil is $74 a barrel as we speak. I think oil comes in. Actually, I don't think that we've discussed this many times. The Strait of Hormuz is obviously fairly important, but it's for us, it's not near as important as it is for Asia. I think there's actually, believe it or not, I know you think this is crazy. I think there's a glut of oil around. Okay. I think that Iran was able to sell oil for probably 3 weeks, and they sold as much as they could. Obviously, that's closed up right now. So that's maybe why you're seeing some tightness to 75. I think this is all contained. I think that there's no way out for Donald Trump and the United States right now, other than to obliterate them, which is what we should be doing. I don't know why we're not. And even when you say obliterate, like at least just cause something for them to think about. You're coming on and you're saying we hit 180 targets or 140 targets. Come on, dude. Come on. You're much smarter than that. Okay. What are the targets? A garbage dump? I mean, what did they hit that is meaningful to cause fear or anything into Iran's, royal guard,
The
the
missiles they took
RIG.
out their missiles with bunker busters.
Dude, stop.
I'm seeing every incremental hit by the U.S. They're hitting more targets. I think. I mean, is Iran underestimating the U.S. here?
No, not at all. Why are we? Let me ask you this: they bomb a ship, we hit them with 180 missiles, and then we stop. Okay, I mean they know right now they're not getting hit. So why, like the one thing I remember in the Iraq war, which was, especially early on, they never stopped. We never stopped. We went days and days and days and we ended them. This is a joke. This is an embarrassment to the United States. We're literally, it's like, okay, you blew up a ship, we'll hit you with 180. Oh, you blew up another ship, we'll hit you with 205. I mean, come on. Come on. It's doing nothing. If it did something, this wouldn't be going on, would it? It's embarrassing.
No,
Embarrassing.
so for me, I think this is going to be protracted. I think this is going to last a very long time. I don't think Iran wants to back down. I think the only way to really get them to back down is to hit him with the same kind of ferocity that the war started with, and I don't think we're getting there. So I'm seeing like tit for tat. I'm seeing a lot of games played. I think that's a trend that will continue, and I think that's going to put a floor to oil. I think as I don't, the other macro situation that we're going to talk about is what's going on in South Korea and SK Hynix, because that is a really big macro situation. But with all this going on, I feel like with people scared about the memory trade, I think the energy trade is where you want to be 3 to 6 months from now.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm just gonna say this. You're saying they're scared of the memory trade and whatever. Micron is up 200% for the year, maybe more, 400. Hynix is up an insane amount. Okay, Nvidia is still positive on the year. I don't know how, but it's still positive. So, like you're saying, they're freaking out. What are they freaking out about? Like,
Hey,
what are
yeah,
they?
by definition, they're freaking out. We had limit down in South Korea again last night.
Eric, their market is up 250% for the year. It went down 8 yesterday. How are they freaking out? You don't know what a freak out is. A
I
freak
think it
out
was the
is,
seventh limit down in South Korea, and this is after that. This ADR
dude,
IPO.
have you looked at their index, honestly? I mean, you obviously want to pull a chart on it. You're telling me someone's scared? The index started the year at like 1800. It's trading at 8,000. Okay. That's like the Dow going up to 200,000 and then coming in to 170,000. People are going to be scared. I mean, what are they scared of? They're up so much freaking money. Yeah, if you're long today, and you just bought them, you're in trouble. There's something wrong with you. But overall, I don't see any fear. I don't see fear in the S&P. The S&P is down 30 handles. It feels like an utter crash. And, something that we watch every day, I was pricing the Straddle. It's pricing at $30 for the day. What fear is in the market? Tell me what the fear is. What's
It's
the
all,
fear?
yeah, well, again, it's all in the Nasdaq. We did have a one standard deviation move down
Eric,
overnight, bounced right off.
I love you dearly. You say this every day. The Nasdaq moves 500 points every single day, no matter what. No matter what the SPU does, no matter what anything does. Okay? So right now from high to low, we've had exactly 500. 500. Okay, so it does what it does every day. It moves 500 points a day every day. So that's it. Sometimes it moves up, sometimes it moves down. But every single day, we're having a 1.5% move minimum from top to bottom. So this is not even an outsized day. And the news in the market is horrendous today, and it doesn't matter. We'll probably be green. Who knows? The market has an insatiable appetite to be bought. But let's look at sort of the macro picture for the rest of the week. The big number is, CPI coming, I believe, tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to
Um,
be a big day all around.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. Let's just like parse it out. Let's say, they're looking CPI year over year 3.8, core 2.9, and they're looking for some negative numbers month over month. Um, I don't know. How do you even think? The only way that can move the market is up. Okay, not down, up. That's what I see. There's very little negativeness in the market. It almost is scary. It's almost scary because if you expected them to blow up a ship, us to bomb them through the entire weekend, them to hit multiple ships, be in this situation where Trump's literally out of his mind, okay? He can't deal with this. He can't deal with these guys, okay? There is no deal. There is no negotiation. You know, Iran is holding all the cards, and you walk in Monday and big deal. We're down 30. We were down 50 overnight, and Nasdaq was down 100 points more than this. So, you know, and he was on Truth Social going ballistic, and the market doesn't care. And you know what's funny? I caught this algorithm, which we talk about. Whenever he goes on Truth Social and posts something, the market rallies. Literally, we rallied. I go to Thomas. He must be out, you know, and he's on a little bit of a delay or whatever. And then the market, I read the comments. I'm like, this is the most negative thing I've ever seen. And then the market sells off. But right away, they buy. All they do is buy.
Yeah, they're because they're programmed for taco. We're gonna have that CPI tomorrow. We're gonna have the Senate Banking Committee, where Kevin Warsh is going to be speaking. And we have the earnings kickoff. All the financials are reporting.
Well, let's talk macro. Look at the bond market. Isn't that your biggest macro clue of what's going on? We traded 460-ish overnight, came in a little bit, but we're ticking in inches away from high yield of this move, okay? And the fact that the Fed is probably going to raise rates, whether it be at this meeting or the next meeting or the meeting after, but they're poised to raise rates. Your favorite gold keeps going down to 4,000, bouncing back, this, that. But I think gold goes lower here.
Well, here's the 2-year. This is the 2-year. And does that chart look like it wants to go down?
Probably not. I mean, I don't know.
So, rate hikes July 29th or no?
No. I say no. I just say you could buy the market, unfortunately, because it's not great for trading, with reckless abandon. How we're down less than 0.5% off of everything that happened over the weekend is mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. Like mind. Well, let me ask you this. If the news was reversed, where do you think we'd be? We'd be up like 80 limits. I mean, I've never, ever seen a market like this. I've never seen retail really not making money, but fine. You know, totally fine. I mean, it's incredible.
So do you
It's
think
actually
you think Nasdaq is down today for any reason associated with what happened in Iran over the weekend, or is this just pure SK Hynix, South
dude, you
Korea?
got SK Hynix doesn't mean jack diddly. Okay. What happened there? It was bad news? There's no news, dude. These stocks are insane. Micron, you're looking at a stock which I've traded for my career. Okay. If you pull a chart, it looks like Everest. I mean, it looks like climbing Mount Everest. Okay. No one could climb that chart. Okay. So big deal. It pulls back 4 or 5%. You know, these stocks, I don't know why you're so focused. Micron is up 700% in a year. That's not a lot to you. It's probably one of the greatest moves in history. I mean, come on, dude. Let's look at Hynix, okay, your favorite. That thing is probably up 1,000%. I mean, what are you looking at here? That's giving you.
Technically in a bear market now.
You can't even do that. I mean, you can do it, but it's not.
I
Really
said technically, here's SK Hynix. We are down from the high. Let's see, we're down 40% from the high.
okay, and we're up 400%. Where did it start the year? I mean, come on, look at this chart. It's insanity. November, the stock was trading a quarter of where it is now. I mean, come on, dude. Whatever. I know it's in a terrible bear market. Look out. Look out. I don't know. I mean, these stocks have a ways to probably go on the downside, but we'll see. And like I said, looking at the numbers this week, CPI on a macro level, I mean, they're looking for an ease in inflation. So they may get it. Who knows? But right now, me looking at the market on a macro thematic basis, we can go through everything. Let's go through it.
Well, I want to talk about Micron and Hynix just a little bit more. So to me, this is and this is going around Twitter, but this is coming from Bank of America, and they're labeling this chart a generational transfer in free cash flow is taking place. So the light blue line there is hyperscalers. They're spending all the money. And the dark blue line is your semiconductors, NVIDIA, Micron, Broadcom, and AMAT. Look at that difference in free cash flow. Look at these. Look at that alligator jaws. So if all this money is getting pumped into semis, why is Hynix getting, really hit here? I know you don't think they're hit because they're up on the year, but
up on the year, dude. Micron 2 earnings ago was $350. It's $900. Okay, it's up 3x in 5 months. They are coming off the high, dude. Micron. You look at Nasdaq, Micron, we've discussed this on the show. Micron has been more important to the Nasdaq than NVIDIA, Apple, or any other stock.
right.
Okay.
So if that's the case, to me, this is a bigger issue than anything else, even rates, even oil, the war. Because if what you're saying is going to happen, this stuff is going to come in, and the entire index, like you're saying, is reliant on these semis. Now, even more so, because these are market cap weighted indices. All these stocks ran up into the end of the quarter, so now they get a bigger allocation. We feel the semis even more on the index level. So if this starts to come in, and my question is, are they pricing that in already? Is this why it's falling?
I am not 100% sure.
Or is this just a little bit of hype?
Eric, there's no
off?
trade. There's no trade. That's what I'm saying. There's no trade. Yeah, Micron will be down today, and then it'll be up tomorrow, and then it'll be down the next day, and then up the next day. And you watch Micron on Thursday trade 880, and then on Friday trade 1050. Okay, you're talking about 15, 20%.
I don't know. I think it's a little bit. I think it's a little bit more serious than that. When a little bit of hype comes off, okay, you get a 10% dip. But when you get 30, 40% reversals like that.
But you've never had up moves like this. This is the sickest up move of all time. I mean, how are you even looking at that? I mean, come on. It's ridiculous. Micron was $200-300, and then it went to $1,200, and then you're freaking out over a freaking 25% drawdown or 20% drawdown.
Well, I think the market is pricing in that this relationship is coming to a slowdown here, where hyperscalers
maybe, but Micron is a $1 trillion entity. $1 trillion entity selling chips, along with 25 other chip companies in the United States, in Korea, in Japan, all over the world. So how many are there? If you add up the number of chip companies in the market cap, they'd have to sell chips out the door 500 times over to even be where we are. So, obviously we're frothy. Obviously it's a bubble. Okay. You're freaking out on a 25% or a 20% down move.
Well, yeah. I mean, the question that we need to start thinking about is is the bubble starting to pop a little bit?
Dude, listen, this bubble will pop. This bubble is not popping. Okay. Tomorrow they'll have SK Hynix up 14% overnight on air, and then everything will reverse and be amazing. It's showing you this. It's showing its macro colors in so many ways. Okay. The VIX is at freaking zero. Okay. Zero, making lows. Okay. That's one. Okay. Two, the intraday straddles, okay, day over day are zero. For this straddle to be $30, I mean, it may even be less. The day's over. I mean, it's like a hockey goalie. They kick save the market. Market's fine. It'll probably go green. I mean, I don't know why it would go green. I don't understand it. It makes no sense. But we're talking macro Monday, and if you overlay the macro picture, whether it be bonds, oil, gold, okay, currencies, everything looks so negative, okay? But we've discussed this before on our podcast. Like Micron right now is down 52 points. In 3 ticks, it could be green on a 50-point move. In 3 ticks. That just is what's out there. Zero liquidity, zero real fear. Okay, like you're saying, oh, they're worried. They're not worried. They're just wondering what day Micron's going to make an all-time high. Is it going to be Wednesday this week? Friday? What do you think? 150 points in MU is a lot right now? Dude, there's no liquidity. There's nobody home. No liquidity. The macro picture is extremely negative. And I think you agree with that. Okay. You got bonds basically pricing in, you would think, a raise in rates, right?
Well, here's the probability for the raise in rates for the July meeting. It's up to 34.5%.
Okay.
So this chart is showing the probability of that hike in July. So tomorrow we're going to get a lot of news. CPI, Senate Banking Committee with Warsh. Where's this probability chart going to look like at the end of the day tomorrow?
Who knows? And I'll tell you this: it won't matter to the S&P. That's the only thing you got to know.
Yeah, well, the weird thing is the earnings are like juxtaposed to all this right now.
Eric,
For some reason, the market always starts off every earnings season on a positive note.
Okay. Listen. I don't know. Sometimes it's negative. Okay. I've seen it negative many times. It's just not right now. They literally, I walked in, SPOOs were down 24, which is nothing. We were up 50 on Friday, 50 on Thursday. It's insane. Okay. We're down 24. We were down 31, and the world was coming to an end. And then now we're down 23, and we'll be green in about an hour. Okay. Come on, dude. You've seen this movie. This movie is so old that it's scary. I'm just telling you. All they do. I mean, if 23 points after Friday's up move and Thursday's up move and probably Wednesday's up move, I mean, this is a joke, a literal joke. No, it's not a joke to you? With everything out there that has happened?
It feels like a disconnected market. At times it feels like a clown show.
Clown show.
At times it feels very fake, very, like it's not the market that you're trading. It's like you're trading.
You're not trading anything. You're
trading psychology. It's like you're trading.
They want to buy every day. They want to buy every. Dude, you don't understand. Like, look at what's going on today. The reverse of Friday. Nasdaq weak, S&P in the middle, and Dow going green. I mean, come on. This is just an algorithmic mess. And there's not a lot you can do, And then the bottom line is they bury people in 0 DTE, and that's sort of the game. We'll see what happens today, but, listen, the SPOO is down 31. The Nasdaq was down 320. Now the Nasdaq's down 315 and SPOO's down 20. I mean, come on. And the Dow is only down 40. I mean, it's sick. You don't think this is sick?
Well, how do we play this? So let's get to our plays of the day. Um,
Okay.
what do you think for the straddle? Let's start with that. 30 points, high or low?
Probably low, but I don't know. I'm not interested in really selling a 30 straddle. My
Yeah,
S
same
and
here.
P my
Same here.
S&P trader, which is our best product, we sell put and call spreads, is making its comeback right now. I don't want to jinx it, but we've had multiple winning days and trades, and it's just a matter if you want to go to the well. Again, it's just the stuff is so dirt cheap. The disrespect to the market is at epic levels. Epic. For us to be down 20 handles with everything out there that's going on is shocking. It's just shocking. As a trader, and listen, we got to, one thing in the show and just in general, we got to deal with what's been given to us. And this is what's been given to us, garbage. Okay. I mean, come on. I mean, Trump it's ridiculous. How many more times can he say we're winning and we won? And we have so not won. I'm not going to say we've lost, but we've lost ammo, we've lost weaponry, we've got guys that are sitting on ships for 6 months to a year that are staler than the bread in your house. I mean, I know they're going to get ready for battle. They've been sitting there rocking back and forth for a straight year without getting off. It's not good. Not good. And these clowns in Iran are never. How are you and I on a show saying there's no chance they'll ever do a deal? Okay. And even if they do a deal, they're going to lie. Okay. And never honor it. Why? Why we think that they're going to do something that's relevant? I mean, come on, dude. Listen, here's all you have to know. We killed the supreme leader, the god of their country. Okay. They're never doing a deal. Okay. And the funniest thing is we let them have the funeral for the Ayatollah. At the funeral, there were more signs to kill Trump, okay, than there were for anything else. Okay. They're disrespecting our country. Okay. They're saying they want to kill our leader. Our guy can't even fly on his new plane because they're so nervous that they don't have the right equipment, that he has to fly on a hunk of junk that he wanted to get rid of. Things are just not good, but whatever. The market is in la la land. They just want to buy. Hopefully they stuff them, and they hurt these guys, but it's a disrespect. And on a macro level, we touched on the bond market. I think if you want to cue on the most important thing, I think that's the most important thing moving forward. Market is in complete denial of a Fed rate hike. I think once they realize that it is here and it is coming, things are going to get sketchy. But you know, I know you're on and you're talking about Hynix going down and MU going down and this one going down. They're all up a lot, a really lot, and near the highs. Okay. So, you're looking at you're calling it a bear market down 20%. Now, technically, maybe that is true.
Larry,
But
Hynix is down 40%.
okay,
40.
so it's down 40, but it's up 700. So is it really in a bear market? I mean, come on. You're much smarter than that.
Look, for me,
Okay.
Micron was trading at like 750 or 700, and that UBS analyst came out, and I think he created so much hype in the market for this stuff, unsubstantiated, and he brought up his target to 1625, and that got the stock up to 1,000 in like a day. And so to me, that 700, 750 level will get retested, which would mean another 15% lower. How's the market? And if it gets there, and I think it's a high probability that Micron gets there, how will the market react to that when that gets retraced? But
They'll buy something else. They'll buy Apple, or why are you laughing? It's the God's honest.
Because
It's
I
gross.
laugh because it's
Dude, that's the
unfortunately
new market. You got
that's
to
the
figure
market.
out what they're buying and what they're selling for that day, and then the next day dude, you've never seen volatility this low. The index is literally, between me and you, the index is a joke. You don't find the index to be a joke? I mean, it doesn't ever go down and it never goes anywhere. And they could take Micron to 750 and the Nasdaq could be right here.
Well, I
How does
think
that make any sense?
this is what the market is. 30-point straddle. I agree with you for today. I think we had two pretty good sized up days in a row. Last week we're off our low on the ES. ES here on this chart is in the middle of a broader uh, trend channel. Is this a bear flag? Is this a bull flag? It looks like a bear flag, but that would mean ES would need to drop below this trend channel here. For now, let's go over some of these levels. We have a 30-point straddle. The reason I don't trust the straddle is because what it's pricing, this red line up here is 30 points up, and you have that red line below 30 points down. All right, that's your straddle band for today. If we go up here, that would mean we close Friday's gap. There's usually more upside to that. When you close the gap on a move where you had a lot of weakness overnight, there's usually momentum. So I don't trust that to the upside. Now to the downside, well, you have an 8-day moving average there as a tentative support. I think if we get down there, we're going 20, 30 points lower. So to me, the straddle I can't really trust it unless we
Well,
just sit here. But if we make any kind of move today towards any of these
I,
straddles, I think these
I,
straddles get blown out.
I would say this, you know, and I guess it's par for the course. You're product of the environment. You're like saying like a big down move is 20 points. Dude, the S&P is up 100 points in the last 2 days. Okay. 20 points is a huge move. I mean, come on, dude. You're trading. The problem in the tape is
Well,
we're
I don't think
trading.
I'm a product of the environment. I
Oh, you
use
are.
technicals.
So,
So
so
you
product
don't
of the
use
environment.
technicals at all. You don't respect technicals or price
Okay, you're
leveling.
right. I don't respect technicals, whatever you say. Yeah, you know what's funny? You come on here and you go, it's so funny. Everybody, dude, I got 4 interns in my office that are looking at exactly what you're looking at. That is not what I want to look at. Okay, I'm just letting you know. Guys that are watching, if you're watching that, like everyone else, that's where they blow you out. Okay, all these guys are, oh, it hit the trend
You're just
channel and da da
repeating
da
what I
da
said
da.
last week. I said all the algos know these levels. The art is
I
in
know.
how to is in knowing that and then
I
trading
know,
off
dude.
of
You're
that.
beating the algo. Dude, I'm actually, if you're beating the algo, you're the greatest trader of all time because no one is beating the algo. Okay, the algo is up $40 billion this year. 40 billion with a B, and you're beating the algo? No chance,
Well,
dude.
what part about what I said do you disagree with or have anything to
That
add?
you're saying I'm not looking at levels. We're always looking at levels. I'm just not using
Well, let's
those
talk about
levels.
the point that I made that I think if we approach any of these implied straddle levels, that there's going to be a lot more action. Do you agree with that or no?
Maybe. I
Okay.
listen. What I see is that there right now, for whatever reason, and I don't know the reason, there's an insatiable appetite to buy stocks. Okay, to buy stocks. Hopefully, they slam them in their face. But for the market to open down 20 spoo points, okay, after running 50 on Friday, 38 on Thursday or whatever, to be up over 1% and change and to come in on an eight. This is where the disrespect is. It's an $8,000 product. It's like trading an $8,000 stock. Micron is a $1,000 stock, right? 1,000, but guess what? It moves every single day, 5 to 8% a day. Okay, and the S&P never has a 1% move. in a day. What is that telling you? To me, it's telling me this is contrived and rigged.
Well,
What's
they're
wrong
hiding
with having
out.
a 1%
They're,
down
they're,
day?
they're,
Is that a
they're
big
hiding
deal?
out in the S&P.
What?
They're hiding out in the S&P, but the equally weighted index is making all-time highs. So I feel like they're trying to diversify out of the memory trade and trying to find opportunities elsewhere.
Dude,
Now
why would
that
they
could be
get
a
out of
short-lived
why would they
thing.
get out of the memory trade when I mean, I listen, I think there's a lot more downside as you do, but they're not getting out. Dude, they're not getting out of one stock. I'm just letting you know. I'll give you the best example. Okay? I'm going to give you the best example. Okay? Let's look at the IPO that should have never been up $50 or $40. That's now going to break price. Dude, they scammed that thing. Okay? And now everyone in the United States of America is down money, okay, in SpaceX. There is no winner. But anyway, let's get to a couple of questions before we wrap today because I think people are asking something that we haven't touched on that Trump tweeted about is the government shutdown. Okay. So do you think the government's going to shut down again? Does it even matter? Trump's saying they're going to shut this baby. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we could. I don't.
Another bullish thing for the market? Every time we shut down, the market runs up.
Yeah, we get every shutdown. We get like a two. We get one like 2% down day, and then that gets bought.
Hmm.
That's about it.
Okay, another
There's a question
question.
here about the VIX. Eric, do you think VIX is too low? Absolutely. I think what's been going on in volatility is um, they're hiding out in the short-term vol and I'm sorry, they're hiding out in the longer-term vol because they think there's no macro virus. The skews are very low, and I think it's getting to a level where I don't think it's reflecting any kind of macro risk on the table. And as we laid out earlier in the podcast, there's a lot of them. The VIX to me is something that you can. There could be a situation where it can start to melt up at some point. I think there's going to be a vol event this year at some point. So
Well, how do you see that though? We corrected decently in the month of March during the war, and vol never even expanded. Okay, it was extremely weird. Okay, we almost got to a bear market. We had a correction, didn't even go up. Now it never goes up. It just continually is making lower lows. I think that the Nasdaq VIX is probably a better buy because there's a lot more volatility. Like, listen, the one nice thing about NASDAQ, and you freak out with your rug pull and all this other crap that you come up with, the
mhm.
NASDAQ moves 1% a day every day. So I'd rather be there. The S&P, a humongous move in the S&P is 0.5%. It's almost like they've made the S&P utility stock. It's bizarre. So I think maybe NASDAQ is the place to play. But right now, market doesn't care. Like, you come in and Micron is down $55 and the market is barely down. Okay. If it was up 55, the market would be exploding. So the skew and the risk has been to the upside, which is weird. And you're looking potentially for a vol event, and there may be, but I don't see how, because like you're calling Micron down to 750, maybe it goes to 600, whatever, it goes in half. The market in Nasdaq could be right here if that happens. That's how sick this is. They'll just buy Apple and Facebook and some other crap, and that's what they do. And like you look at the Dow, it's down 20 points. Dow's going to be green today. Gonna be green. It's just what they do. So the algo is in full motion. For the SPU to be down 25 with everything that's going on is a joke, especially after it was up 50 on Friday. You don't agree with that? So
I'm just looking at I'm looking at option prices here, 30 points down. If you're saying the Dow's going to be green today, are you looking at put spreads? Is that what you're? I mean, the
no, because
75.
The Dow has zero to do with the S&P or the Nasdaq. If the Dow goes up, everything else is going down.
Yeah, but
I
forget
mean,
the Nasdaq. Just let's talk about Dow and S and P.
well,
Dow is
I
green.
don't trade
S and P
Dow.
is not going to drop more than 1%.
Okay, buddy. Whatever you say, dude. I'm just telling you, I don't want to lead any of my subscribers to having thoughts like that. You're saying it's not going to move 1%. We can move 1%. We can move more.
Yeah, but
I
if the
mean,
Dow is up on the day, I could see
dude,
the
the Dow could
Nasdaq
be up
being.
300 and the Nasdaq could be down
I'm
600.
not talking about the Nasdaq.
And
I'm
the
talking
S&P could be down 50. 100%. No, dude, this is all the reverse. If they're buying Dow, they're selling everything else. This is a computer. You're trading a computer. And then a couple of people asked about Bitcoin. It's held 60,000. I see no trade there. I'm sure you're bullish on it. I see no trade. I
No,
wanted to
I
buy
don't.
it.
I don't see a trade. I mean, it technically, I think, gave an opportunity, but that signal was generated early last week and it hasn't done anything. So, false signal to the upside for now.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. It seems like it wants to hold in here. I don't love it. I'd like to buy it in the middle 50s. Hopefully it gets there. It may not. We may look to short it if it runs too much. And then another question was on Apple stock, how we feel about Apple. Apple is the weirdest stock. I was away on vacation. They had to raise prices. They had a terrible conference or whatever when they met and said they were going to use Google AI, and the stock traded down to 265. It's now 315. I think it probably goes higher. If the market goes lower, that'll go higher. I mean, watch chips. If chips are bad, Apple's good. If this is what we have, dude. Things that don't make sense. So just keep an eye on that. But Apple seems okay, not going too far. And then Intel and ARM. I don't know if you have opinions there. I mean, Intel is, definitely overvalued, but it's owned by the government. Trump's in it, so he'll probably pump it up. But it's interesting. It's coming to a level that's pretty interesting, right? $100 a share. It traded up to like 150, 140, up from 35. I just want you to know this thing was 35 in April. So you look at these stocks, they got a long way to go down, right? I mean, you're saying Micron could go to 750. Micron could go a lot lower than 750, right? I mean, it could go, and then what's going to happen is you're going to start seeing some earnings contraction, etc. So, maybe into the next earnings, it goes a lot lower than that. But for right now, it's a tradable stock. And, I want to get close to wrapping. I don't know if there's anything on a macro level that you're
Yeah,
looking
there's
at.
a question. There's a really nice question that I like from Nice Expedition. Uh, does gold go in a direction? Here's the question: does gold go in a direction opposite stocks, or do they go together?
I would say we're seeing right now the algorithm is hooked to opposite stocks. Bad days are bad for gold. Um, I don't understand it. And I think, though, the underlying problem that gold has, and I think it goes a lot lower, I think that it's over owned. I think that there's been no fear. I think if it gets below 3,900, which is 150 points or 3% from here, you could see an acceleration. We have puts in gold still. We would then take our puts off and reverse potentially long. Silver is back to $58. My question to you on silver is 58 too low or too high? I mean, it should have never been 120 or 115 or even 100. And where did all those bulls go that said, oh, you need silver for everything? Do you remember that whole scam oh, China's holding all the silver. They're not releasing it. It's going in every data center. This, that. You haven't heard one word about that. No?
Yeah, and when all that uh, hype came into silver, that's when it was breaking out of 50. So it's at 58. The same way I think Micron could get back into the 700 handle, because the only reason I see it went up was the hype created from one analyst.
Well,
Uh,
wait. We had that
I
one
could see
analyst.
silver potentially getting to that level as well, because that's when the hype show arrived for silver.
And
And
listen,
it never
silver.
fully retraced to that 50 handle, so it could.
No, well, you know what's funny about silver? Silver has existed longer than probably anything in the world and had a price. And silver for the last 5,000 years never went above $40. And it went from 40 to 120 in like 3 months. Okay. And I know you don't believe it, but it was all retail buying and retail sitting in this garbage and they're crushed. Okay. Volumes were unbelievable. They were doing more volume in silver than the S&P 500. Okay. It's a crazy thing. So, silver probably goes lower, all of this stuff. I mean,
To answer the question from a different angle about whether gold moves up or down with the market, I think it depends on how both of these asset classes, stocks and gold, are reacting to the shape of the yield curve. So 6 months ago, you would see gold and stocks rising together in different ways in an uncorrelated fashion, but they were rising together. And you would see the yield curve rising as the market was thinking, "Oh, we may be getting rate cuts." Now the situation is different. The war came in, that whole trade changed, and gold is pricing in rate hikes. So stocks aren't reacting to that because stocks are a different animal. So what you're seeing right
what
now,
kind of, wait, what kind of animal are they? Sheep? Like what they don't react to higher rates, but everything else does.
there's
They
a
don't
there's a
react.
lag to when they
Wait, they
react.
don't react to any type of bad news out of a war
Right.
that we can't get under control. They don't react to anything until they do, and they will. Okay, so I would just say this: you're looking at gold, and you're looking at the surface of a yield curve. I mean, I don't think that that's playing into gold. I've traded gold longer than almost you've been alive. Okay, I started trading gold in 1984. Okay, I don't know where you were. Um, how old were you? Seven,
Born
5. So
in
I started trading
1984.
gold in 1984, and I'm telling you, if there was a war outbreak, okay, and just uncertainty in the market, gold would have an inherent bid. War was always bullish for gold. Now it's not bullish, it's actually bearish. And a weak market, which should be good for gold because it creates uncertainty and people have to freak, would be good for gold, but it's bad for gold. And all of this has happened, Eric, and I want to end on this, is because a bunch of 20-year-old or 25-year-old kids have programmed the computer algorithm on a daily basis to basically confuse and make things look a certain way. And I'm telling you, I'm looking at the market pre-open, and the S&P hasn't moved since we've been on the air. It's down 26, got down about 32. But guess what? As we've been on the air, the Nasdaq has been going straight down to almost near the lows of the day. Okay, it's literally like 100 points off the low, and the S&P is 30 handles off the low. And this is where we sit, and like even just like in the last two ticks, it's like Spoo goes like this, ring, and that's it. So you're in a computer, you're in an algo. Watch the algo today. Watch the S&P Nasdaq spread. Watch the spread Dow Nasdaq. Tomorrow will be a good day for us. A lot to talk about. We got CPI, etc. $30
Well, we're going
straddle.
to be talking a lot about chart setups tomorrow, so it should be a fun one.
Okay, perfect. Well, listen, remember tomorrow we're going to be with you at 8:45. So we're moving it back 15 minutes and we're going to go a half hour. We're going to get to everybody's questions and we're going to try to gear the show more around our subscribers and what they're thinking and what their interests are. But I wish you a great trading day, everybody, and peace. Enjoy.